work right here. So hold on 1 second. We'll go back to this. Here we go.
All right.
JD passed away a year ago on Saturday, and I still at times pick the phone up to call him. I never thought about how much I talked with him until one day, Diane told me that he used over 3,000 minutes a month on his cell phone. And most of those were talking to me. It was then I realized that I talked with him almost every day. I will always be grateful to Bill Ellison for introducing me to JD several years ago. It started a friendship that I will always cherish. After I met JD, I began working my dogs with him on a weekly basis. The most fun was watching him work with young dogs. He would tell me stories about the dogs and what he was trying to accomplish with them, often saying, "You just have to listen to what their dogs are telling you." And he was always ready with a retort. Just watch this clip.
I ain't always right, but I'm never wrong. Good gracious.
Someone, I don't remember who it was, kicked it in the face.
I am often asked, what is the most important thing he taught you about dog training? Now, JD would tell you he did not train my dogs. He was training me. As you can see in the pictures, JD is instructing me. He isn't even looking at the dog, but I'm getting my instructions for that practice. But what he really taught me was patience. He sensed quickly that I was not the most patient person in the world. Often when one of my dogs messed up, he would do nothing. And I would ask, well, why didn't you correct him? He would invariably say, don't you mess up sometimes? Dogs aren't perfect either. He was very proud of his dogs. He kept count of how many champions he'd trained. And I was so proud to have these two pictures with him and Lexi when she was second in the Nationals, and with Blitz, who, by the way, was his favorite of my dogs, when Blitz was third place in the amateur and Nationals. I wish that he had just been around to see Blitz and Thrasher win the doubles national championship. However, with all of this, his favorite project was with Boogie and Andrew. Andrew was his great nephew and the joy of JD's life. Andrew helped JD train and work with Boogie. Every time Andrew came to visit, I got a call. You need to bring Boogie and leave him with me. Andrew and I need to work him this week. And so they did. As you can see, Andrew loved Boogie so much that we had a t-shirt made with Boogie's picture on it for him. And if you look closely, Andrew is ready to start training.
Good day of practice is a bad day at travel. A bad day at travel is a practice, good day at travel.
Thank you for allowing me a few minutes to honor my friend, JD.
Haley, I don't know if everybody could hear that some of the sayings on that, as he wrote on that gator, wasn't always easy to come through. I mean, you know, a good day at trialing is a bad day at a good day at practice is a bad day at trialing. I'll get it right in a minute. And a bad day at practice is a good day at trialing. But the one that brought a smile to my face and tear to my eye was, because it's classic him, and I didn't know he did it, is if you listen really carefully, when Lexi caught the bird, you heard him say, "Good gracious." And that good gracious was me. He was on me that I should have known better with all of it. And so he was never short of having a comment on anything. And but he was there are several people on here now, and I know we have some of his relatives, and Neil Golden, which I know I've spent many a day in the field with Neil was there with JD and I and all, and there's so many others. I mean, that's just a drop in the bucket of those that he worked dogs for. So anyway, I'm just really pleased. Thank you for that. It was, there's no kidding. I still pick the phone up to call him today, especially when one of mine are acting up because he had the answers. And so anyway, we're,
well, that was awesome. And that's what a pleasure to be able to view that. And I wish I could have met JD because he sounds like a very dear person to my heart as well. We'll get into that. But yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, he was great. Well, listen, we have all kinds of other stuff going on. These High Point races are going to come down to the last of the year. I mean, it's just, if you watch, they're tightening up and all kinds of things. And so we've got a lot of that to report and get you up on. We have a new feature that we kind of introduced last week called the Retrieve of the Week. And I sort of modified it a little bit for this week. Haley is, I'm going to modify it to Performance of the Week, because I'm watching the amateur at Elizabethtown on Sunday, and I saw them, and it's a tie. I have a tie because there are two for this. Trent is one of them, and Lauren is the other. But I have to tell this story because you have to understand how Trent kind of went about his. Trent turns turbo loose, and here we're going out through the field now. Trent's in second place, and he's only about 40 points behind Kevin Pixley at the time. And, everybody's watching this, what's Trent going to do? So Trent goes and Turbo hunts, and they're rocking along there. And all of a sudden, Turbo stops to do his business.
Oh.
And I'm sitting, Trent's just watching him. Now, what went through my mind was, I know Papa is sitting there watching Trent, probably losing his mind that he didn't try to get that dog to get that done ahead of time and to hurry up a little bit. Well, Trent knew more than any of us, because about 3 steps later, Turbo had pointed. First bird comes up, he gets it. Turbo comes back, and they start off, and Trent takes about 3 steps, and I see him cock his head down to the ground. I thought he just saw another bird. Sure enough, he gets his second one. Turbo gets it, brings it back. They go about 25 yards, maybe that far, and locks up. And he gets his third bird. 2 minutes and 57 seconds. He smokes a run after all of that.
Wow.
So I'm thinking that's a pretty tough bar right there. I don't know if anybody will get to that one. But sure enough, in the other field, Lauren goes out. Now, I've told y'all Copper's fast, and Lauren can get to the field. 2 minutes and 45 seconds, Lauren gets through that field. I mean, he smokes it up. Copper is on fire. And so I thought, given the situation, both needed wins to stay in the top 3, and they did it, but they did it wide open. So those are my two, I'm going to call it Performance of the Week this week.
That is awesome. That is good. Man, we have my Retrieve of the Week. I didn't get to watch it, but I was told about it by several people because I was actually in the field. But Matthew Thomas has one of a Brook puppy, which is my chocolate lab that I run. He has Ollie. She's a 10-month-old puppy. He was out there, pulled the trigger, winged the bird, hit it, didn't kill it dead. So he had time, and this is where that critical thinking comes in. Do I shoot again? And by the time you do all that thinking, it's too late. So you've already missed your chance to shoot again. But these dogs at some point they'll save your butt. They'll chase the bird. So he's like, well, she'll go get it. So she goes, I'm not good with yards and all this stuff, but I know that it's a full football field length, maybe a little more, from our B field. If you've ever been in our house, you know where that is. From the very back end zone, all the way past the tower, all the way to our driveway. They watched that bird fly, and it just landed in our gravel driveway and just sat there. And his wife, Caitlin, was watching, and she's thinking, you better call this dog back before she goes in 84 and gets ran over. We don't have a dog. And he's like, just hush, let her go. And Ollie goes all the way, and literally, she just opened her mouth and just grabbed that bird. And within 15 seconds was back at Matthew's feet. And I'm talking about that is really, really far. And she's a 10-month-old puppy. And I mean, bird in her mouth, never
Oh, wow.
once dropped it, didn't get up another bird. He got it to her time. He was done. And still, I think it was a 3-minute run.
Great.
I mean, he was on fire. He was so excited.
I bet, because that's a long way from the back of that field to that driveway.
That is a long way.
Long
And
way.
hey, we had some good performances of the week. Our Christmas Classic trial, I will tell you the first through fifth on Saturday was all 1 to 3 minute runs.
Good night.
First through fifth. So much so I had 2 2s that day and a 2 and a 3 the next day. And overall for our trial, I ended up 9th. And we'll get to all that later, but that's just to tell you how strong our numbers were for competition this weekend.
Ooh, that's pretty strong there.
Yeah.
Good. Wow.
That's when you just say, if I get beat by doing that, I just got beat.
Well, you know, the only problem for me to think of those times, I'm not sure I can walk from the back to one of those, front to the back of one of your fields in any of those times. So
Well, I
don't
have a
know.
tough time because I'm the one with the shortest legs. Clint's here to tell me that was at least a 250-yard retrieve. Thank you, because y'all, I'm no whatever. I'm not good at yards. I just
It's a long way across there, a long way. Oh my. Well, good job, especially for a 10-month-old pup. That's great. Wonderful. Well, we enjoy watching those. Let's move and talk a little bit here about just a review of what you tell us about what went on at your Christmas trial.
All right, so we had a great turnout. The Christmas Classic was awesome. We had Eddie from Ohio come down to join us and our usual crew. And then Sunday, we're halfway through the trial, and here comes Chuck. Chuck had ran with you, I guess, Saturday, and he's in Alabama on Sunday. So that was a nice surprise. We weren't for sure who was going to get to make it. So that was fun. But yeah, we had a great turnout. So Saturday in our open, first place was Lady with Chase Payne. That's his boykin. She did her thing. Second was Rose. That's my dog. We were so proud. I had first all day long. I'd held it strong until the last 5 runs, and here came Chase, and he knocked me down. That's okay. Third place was Blitz with Cross Payne. And those doubles, first was Valley with Clint. Second is Jazz with Jonathan Thomas. And third was Ultra with Clint. On Sunday, our open first place was Blitz with Cross Payne. And second was Ollie with Matthew Thomas, that 10-month-old puppy I was telling you about. And third place was Valley with Clint. And the doubles, first place took Valley with Clint. And second place with Midas with Eddie Carbon. And third place with Elby with Chase Payne. So we gave out trophies for the overall. So first place in open, Cross took that with Blitz, and Clint was second with Valley, and Cross took third with Creek. In our doubles overall, first place was Valley with Clint and Cross. Second was Thor with Eddie and Becky. And third was Lady with Chase Payne and Cross Payne. I think that was Chase's first trophy. So, man, he was super excited. And Lady's first trophy, too. So, I mean, it was a great weekend. We all had a good time, a good turnout, lots of dogs. And we just had a really good time. We're glad that everyone was able to make it, especially the weekend before Christmas. So,
Yeah, tough travel times. But I think we need to give Chuck the travel award of the week, because Chuck ran in D-Town on Saturday, because he ran pointing, and I think they had Flushing after the pointing, and I think he ran there as well there with it. But then to travel on from Elizabethtown to Elba to run, so he gets that. He should have that award for this week.
he absolutely should. Might I mention this? Y'all, Chuck shows up and he's like, "Hey, look at my back seat," and I'm like, "What's in your back seat?" And I open the door, and there is 10-day-old puppies in a tub with their mama. And there's like 10 of them, and they don't even have their eyes open. And these things are just beautiful. And I have a 2-year-old on my hip that's like, "Mommy, give me puppies." You cannot have these puppies. They're too little for you.
Teaching.
But man, that was cool for him to come. I mean, I was like, Chuck, are you okay? Like, you worry me driving that far in that amount of time. Like, goodness.
Yeah. Well, we did have, which probably would be close on travel. We did have the Hillegases at Elizabethtown, so they made that trip from
New
New York.
York.
Well, yeah. Well, that's great. He's just teaching them to travel early and get them used to it. Well, at Elizabethtown, we had 35 in the open and 25 in the amateur. Craig Carby won the open. It was with a 3:30. That's the equivalent to, I think he had 2 3-minute runs. They were really smoking. Second place was, second place was David Robinson and Brandon Tarquinio. I think they tied at 3:28. So really fast runs there. As I mentioned earlier, Trent won the first open. Lauren won first amateur, and Lauren won the other amateur. In doubles, Trent and Lauren also won one of the doubles trials, and then Craig Carby and Hardy Jaggers won the other doubles trial. So Craig had a good weekend as well with all of it. So it was a lot of fun. We did get we didn't get wet, but it rained all night Saturday night. So when we were there Sunday, we were looking for muck boots with it. So it was a little different.
Oh yeah. So literally Saturday we all had on, because I mean, as you all know, like we are in a jacket first thing in the morning, and then we're in shorts, no doubt, every single trial we've ran. Mm-hmm. No, we were all in like 3 jackets, sweatshirts. We were bundled up to the core on Saturday. Sunday, and so much so that we moved a fire pit down there so we could light it and stay warm without just all being in our trucks. And it rained, it missed that nasty mist, just enough to make things nasty. That's another thing, that shot bird points, oh my goodness, they came into huge play on Sunday, especially for the overall trophies. I got so much so, like Saturday, I was in second place. My time was a good 1 minute and 45 seconds faster than the first place winner, but he had more shot bird points than I did.
Yep.
And then, so the overall, that's what got many of us, because of Sunday, it did just rain just enough to make a mess, and birds started not flying. And then later in the afternoon, they flew like crazy. But yeah, so Sunday, it wasn't cold. Thankfully, it was cool, not cold, because it was just that nasty mist. And then Monday, I was in shorts and a t-shirt all day long. So we maybe would all have pneumonia next week.
Let's don't do that. We have more shows to do. Let's don't do that. Oh gosh. Well, we were fortunate. Birds flew good. In my case,
they did after the fact, but first half of the morning it was just misty rain, and we kept them. We had the birds covered and everything else, but it was okay. We still had fun. Good.
Well, let's these standings in the high point are flipping and flopping. So let me talk a little bit about here on let me get everybody updated on the open pointing. Trooper and Randy Hillegas are still in first, but Brandon with Stella moved up into second place, and then Cole with Paul Vaughn, Frank Arno, and Hoyt Malden is in third. So that race is all kind of tightening up. That's the best way to put it. So we're know some that kind of dropped out there, but they're close, and we have a bunch of trials left, believe it or not, before the end of the year. So we'll get into that a little bit. Amateur pointing, as I mentioned, Trent and Lauren both won a trial. Kevin finished second in one of them, so that tightened up. Kevin is still, with Cap, is still in first place. Trent and Turbo in second, and Lauren with Copper is in third. Kevin is only 19 points ahead of Trent. And the one sitting kind of down there in fourth place is David Robinson with Izzy, and he's only 30 points behind Lauren. And so, 4 trials this weekend. Who knows what will happen before next week? So that's all tightened up a lot, and that's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens this week. This coming
get the
weekend.
coin toss for now.
It very much so. That's just a slip here or there. Doubles pointing, Karma and Trooper are still leading. That's with Randy and Nate Hilligus. Again, Lauren with Copper and Turbo, Trent with Turbo are both in second place. And of course, Bo and Mags with Butch White are still in third. So that's kind of holding at this point for the high point standings, but a lot of trials to go. What about, where are we with Flushing?
All right. So as for Flushing, you guys have a ton of trials left. We have very few. Like I had mentioned last week, I think this was our last points trial, was here at the house. So as it stands, everything is the same pretty much from last week. Open is still first place Briggs with Clint, and second place is Thor with Eddie, and third place is Hercules with Eddie in the high point standings. That is a little different from last week. I'm sorry, I just realized that. Fourth, fifth, and sixth. Very, very, very few numbers in between those two. So there's still a couple trials to be posted, and there is 2 trials this coming up at the end of the year. So it's very interesting to see where they'll go from there, and plus our trial this weekend. In doubles, you have Thor with Eddie, second with Midas with Eddie, and third is Hercules with Eddie. And I think the doubles 5th place dog has now moved up to the 3rd place dog, just to tell you how much from the trials this past weekend and the weekend before affected this points race. And that's nothing official. That's just us doing the math, of course, but that's what it looks like. And I'm very interested to see where all those dogs move to, because it is getting tight.
Let me say there are some calculators smoking out there right now.
Oh,
They are being
no doubt.
punched because I've talked to a few people over the weekend and since then, and some people had it all in some spreadsheet and they could plug it in and all of it. So a lot of calculators being worn out right now with all.
Hey, if no one was watching you before now, they are.
This is true. This is true. Oh goodness. We've got some upcoming trials. Why don't you tell us about Flushing? What we got?
All right. So it looks like December 28th through the 30th, Liberty Corner has some pointing and Flushing. That's in Lincoln, Alabama. Your point of contact there is Mr. Bill Ellison. And it looks like December 31st at Hanson Outfitters is Flushing only, and that's in Anita, Iowa. And your point of contact there is Paul Hanson. And those are it.
Okay, let me go through the pointing because there are more pointing here with all this. And so bear with me just a minute. December 26th and 7 at Wabash Quail Club in Mount Carmel, Illinois. That's pointing only. They'll have amateur doubles and open. Then December 26th and 7th is at Rimrock Preserve. That's in Statesville, North Carolina. Sorry, let me get that right there. December 27th through 29th, Tommy Wiley is having trials at his place at Wiley's Rough on Birds Farm. And then on December 28th, Bama Bird Dog is having pointing. It's in Lincoln, Alabama. Bill Ellison is that contact there. The 29th, they're having one as well. Then December 29th through the 31st, Tri-County Quail Club. That's in Corbin, Kentucky. They're having pointing. December the 30th, Bama Bird Dog is having a trial, another trial as well. That's in Lincoln, and the 31st with that. So Chris Hubbard is a contact for Tri-County Quail Club. So that's why I say, Haley, this is all going to tighten up a lot. There are a lot of trials left to go here. So
not only is there a lot of trials, but there's a lot of opens and doubles amongst those trials. So
yes.
There's no telling what's going to happen.
It's let's just say this: there will be a mile or two put on a truck in the next couple of weeks.
Vehicles.
Yes, there will be some
You
travel.
are exactly right. I've already heard of some people traveling.
Great. All right, I think we're here at the end. A couple of reminders. Next week we'll be back on Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. Before after the holidays, we'll return to our Thursday rotation. But again, be with us next Tuesday. Reminder: please get all your scores sent to Mary. I know she is trying to get all those in, and with all of these trials occurring in these last few days that we just went over. Let's help her and get everything to her, text them to her so she can get those things entered.
If you guys don't have that number, let us know right now. We'll get you Miss Mary's number. Mr. Frank also said for y'all to email them if you didn't want to text them. If you're not tech savvy, if you want to email, that's fine too. We can get you that. We can post it below. So y'all please get those in.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Do that and help them to get everything ready so that after the first year, Haley and I can report on the High Point winners, and we start looking at having some of them on the show with us. We probably had some. We can have them again and
Right.
to learn about that experience. One nice thing is that thing here, Haley. If any of you that haven't seen, Mary just posted Stacy Hall's father passed away. So let's please keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers for that loss, because we hate
They've had a tough year.
that's tough. Yeah, when your father goes, that's tough. So anyway, any final things, Haley, before we give it a wrap for tonight?
I think that's it. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We hope that y'all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and y'all stay safe and stay blessed. And as always, give us your thoughts and comments, any suggestions, whatever y'all like to see, who you'd like to see, what you want to hear. Let us know.
Yep, and we're listening. Believe me, we're listening to you at these trials when you come up and have suggestions. That because we haven't gotten to all of them yet, we haven't forgotten them. It's like technology. We're going a little bit slow with this, trying to work through with it. But please tell us online and everything else. And so from Haley and from me and for all of us, the producer over here to the right, Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see y'all Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Haley. Okay. Hold on one
We're
minute.
off. You're still recording.